three really key pivot points that have impacted the way accountants work and the way they think.
It goes without saying that quite a few people see change as a dangerous thing and something to be a little bit wary of.
It's very quickly annoying if you don't know why it's saying the revenue is unexpectedly low. You need some more information as to why it's saying it, or else it's costing you time instead of saving.
What's your vision for how AI will continue to transform the accounting industry in the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Seeing the looks on people's faces, seeing how it's instantly adopted. As soon as people find out the features, they start using it and never stop.
Everybody who will adapt AI and use AI will be ahead of the game compared to those that don't.
Today, we've got a special episode with two of Silverfin's own product leaders. Nick Meerlaen, who's behind key AI features like AI Mapping and Silverfin Assistant, and Martin Lysholt, our VP of Product. We're diving into how AI is transforming accounting, the problems it's solving, and what's next for Silverfin. So whether you're curious about AI's impact or want a glimpse into the future of accounting technology, this one is definitely for you. Well, it's great to chat to someone internally here at Silverfin about how we implement AI and how we've made kind of AI core to what we do. So really looking forward to kind of taking a slightly deeper dive into our AI side of Silverfin. So I guess kind of like for a broad first question to get us going, what's the kind of general approach that you and the AI team take here at Silverfin when looking at building products and solving problems?
I think one of the reasons that we've been quite good at releasing AI features is because we don't treat them as very different to other elements of our product. Like it all starts at a very concrete user problem that we then can solve with some AI solution. But it's rarely so that we turn it the other way around. We wouldn't be looking for ways to apply AI, but really for those problems we can solve.
And it's interesting because when you look across the industry, AI has become a bit of a buzzword, right? It's been that key feature. And I've spoken to a couple of accountants where they like, we will only look at products now that have AI. And it surprises me because it's less of a problem solving with some accounting firms. It's more that we just must have it. So we've taken that different approach. We're not just trying to shoehorn AI into a product. There's got to be a specific problem we're trying to solve.
Yes, indeed. Although what you're describing is a trap that is very easy to fall into. Like nowadays, it's quite easy to sell a product that has AI components to it because of the hype around it. But if you're really looking to create products that deliver value and get adopted, that's when you still need to treat it as you would have treated any other product. Like start from a problem and go from there.
Yeah, and I guess that's like, and also you see a lot of AI products that are being sold that just aren't built yet, right? Like, and I'm all for the concept of an MVP. I remember when a certain receipt scanning piece of technology came out initially in the UK, it was built very much as AI and machine learning on that. But actually, what it was in reality was people in a processing center somewhere else in the world getting every receipt, looking at it and filling in the details, right? So I'm all for an MVP of a product, but you are seeing a lot more products being sold that there's no way they can be complete or even ready. I mean, look at Apple, right? They've sold a whole phone based on the promise of AI software that probably won't hit anywhere in Europe due to regulations.
Yeah, exactly. But what you mentioned about the document scanning is actually an approach that did prove that the value was there. Like before they've built the entire product, they were able to tell like people are willing to use it, and if we bring a product to market like this with then the actual scaffolding around it, we will be solving a real problem. But yes, there's definitely a lot of very shiny product demos where the actual application of that product can be questioned, or the mere existence of it.
Yeah, not even the application, but the existence of it. That's interesting. So you've been at Silverfin for 4 years now. What was the first AI product that you worked on, and what was the problem you were trying to solve? And then I guess the approach that you took to resolve that, and how AI come into that.
Well, that probably was our AI mapping solution back in 2017, which really goes back to the core of what we try to do with Silverfin. We try to reduce the time it takes to complete the client file's compliance work mainly. And to do so, we rely a lot on automation that is based on the charts of accounts. And in the majority of cases, those charts of accounts are slightly different between companies or client files, or even like completely different. And we used to have a solution for that where people could manually standardize those charts of accounts to one or just a few sets that an accounting office would use. And a lot of people are probably still doing this manually in some software. But back in 2017, we created an AI solution for that, where we, based on historical mappings of other client files, can predict the meaning of a certain account and then use that in further automation of the client file. We managed to get down the time spent to do this mapping action with 97% by adding this feature.
And that's a significant amount of time, right? Like, and we've discussed this previously, but that's time that's neither asked or budgeted for specifically by the client. No client goes, "Hey, look, could you map this chart of accounts for me, and I'll pay you that." It's what's expected, right? So from an
Exactly.
accountancy firm, that must have been really well received when you rolled that feature out.
Exactly. Like the clients are typically asking and paying for that end result. They want their accounts to get filed. They want to have insights on certain reports. They're not interested in your process. So anything you can do to make that more efficient are typically gains for the accounting office.
And how do you then kind of look at evolving that? Because that was the initial problem that solved, and that was a feature that was built quite a while ago, right? Like when you look back at kind of the history of Silverfin, how do you then evolve that and take that to the next level? What's the next problem you want to try and solve with that?
Well, we actually learned quite a lot from that first application. Like in the beginning, we were set to automate it fully. Our North Star, our point on the horizon was, let's automate the mapping process entirely. You set up a sync with Silverfin, you open your client file, and you don't need to worry about mapping. It's already done. Now, since then, we've learned that that was not the thing to aim for. We've learned that it's far more important to have people be very confident about what's happening, that they know their charts of accounts are being mapped, that automation can happen because of that, and that it's very easy to validate whether everything is correct. Like saying some of the accounts are uncertain, being very explicit about that, making it very easy to validate, has proven to be far more important than shaving off like that extra percentage of accuracy in our models. And that's something we really have taken along in the other products we've built so far.
And of course, when you look at the other products, you've of course got the now iconic Silverfin assistant, who makes appearances at events all over the world. But what was the thought process behind Silverfin assistant, and what was the problem that was trying to solve, and how did you kind of develop through that?
The problem Silverfin Assistant was aiming to solve, or is aiming to solve, is mainly around staff shortages and people coming into accounting offices with like different experience or different ways they start learning accountancy. A lot of accounting offices are a little bit uncomfortable that people don't have to post a lot of journals themselves anymore. Like a lot of the work is automated by pre-accounting software where invoices are scanned and the journals are presented to you. And the main reason Silverfin Assistant was built was to guide those juniors in which type of questions they should ask in client files. So what Silverfin Assistant will do is flag up certain situations that are unexpected in a client file. This can be based on patterns in the data. For example, unusually highly booked amounts or uncommon frequency, but also more aimed at specific UK legislation, considering certain thresholds and really explaining why Silverfin Assistant is bringing something up.
I love that idea of, the problem being that we know there's shortage of staff and the training and getting people up to speed. So building an AI product that can almost help support that journey and help support that training, whilst also ensuring that the data and the quality of work we do is the right quality of work. And I love features like, flagging if turnover is significantly higher, or like if there's specific payments that have increased. So stuff like that that's gonna increase accuracy, solve speed, and solve that training thing. I think that seems to be the kind of heart of what you're saying around the AI side, is that like, again, this is another significant problem that we've seen and that we're using technology to try and solve.
Exactly. And again, it's about making it very easy to understand why our AI solution is bringing some point to attention. Because if not, it's very quickly annoying. Like if you don't know why it's saying the revenue is unexpectedly low, that doesn't do much. You need some more information as to why it's saying it, or else it's costing you time instead of saving.
Yeah, 100%. So in terms of kind of across Silverfin, there's multiple different teams, there's multiple different regions and multiple different markets that we're trying to develop for and support. So how does your team collaborate to ensure that new AI features align with both the user needs and the overall product vision for what Silverfin is?
It largely depends on the feature on its own. For example, we discussed the mapping feature earlier, and that is pretty much the same problem in each country. The only difference is the charts of accounts, and those charts of accounts are then created and maintained by our local product teams. But the AI feature behind the mapping is quite a universal concept. For Silverfin Assistant, that's slightly different because we also want to weigh in like local legislation, some accounting rules. That's where collaborating with the UK team and doing workshops with UK customers, for example, comes in and is really valuable. And also, for example, for our most recent feature about putting in data into templates with the use of AI. So we can, for example, now automate the input of new hire purchases or bank loans. So you need to reconcile what's in the bookkeeping with some external document and make sure that the balances match what would be expected from based on that document. And that's also like the user experience around it is quite universal. And as I said, that's a very important component, like easy validation, understanding what it's doing and why it's doing it. But the templates on which we apply it are different in every market. For example, loans and hire purchases, we don't have those templates in any other market. That's really driven by our UK team, our UK customers, to find the areas in which we can provide most value.
100%. So in terms of what you're developing now, what you're working on now, what's the next kind of big AI feature that we're going to be releasing here at Silverfin. And again, kind of going back to that conversation we're having at the beginning, the problem it was trying to solve and what you're hoping the impact will be.
So the largest project we've been working on for I think the better part of this year has been this AI input feature. We've only just started launching it, drip feeding it to some firms in early access. It's something we want to double down on because it really comes back to the essence of reducing the time to make a client file compliant. I think it's very interesting to see how quickly that feature is getting picked up by users, how quickly that feature is being adopted. And then we're continuously assessing other problems that we could approach using AI or other technology. But one of the things we're currently looking into, for example, is facilitating client meetings through Silverfin, where you'll be able to, as a firm, define some topics that should be discussed, but then also within a given client file, you could add some topics of conversation, have an agenda be created, but that's still very early days of discovery now.
Amazing. I think I was kind of there when you started to show some of these early AI features at an event recently. And what was interesting was you could tell instantly that they were connecting with the audience that we had, which was obviously leaders from these accountancy firms and digital transition teams from these accountancy firms, and instantly they could see some of the work you were doing and they were like, oh, actually I can see how that's going to help us. I'm going to see the impact that's going to make. That must feel pretty good, right? When you demonstrate something and instantly you see it on people's faces that you've got something that they connect with.
It was extremely rewarding, obviously, but it's also something that we have validated whether this would be an interesting thing to do before doing the investment of spending months' work actually building it. As you said, the OCR example, which was actually people in the background doing things, we often also start off with some prototypes. We validate, we heavily talk to users before we release something new. But yeah, definitely seeing the looks on people's faces and potentially even more importantly, seeing how it's instantly adopted as soon as people find out the features there, they start using it and never stop. And that's the most rewarding thing you can have when you build a new thing.
So I guess last question, two-part question, Nick. Firstly, what is the AI tool that you rely on the most? And then secondly, what have you seen out there that both within, I guess, either within the accountancy space or without in the AI space that you think is a real product, a real idea to watch?
Well, I think my go-to app is probably the thing I use most is probably Claude from Anthropic. I know for a lot of people, the go-to application is ChatGPT, and that's a little more feature-rich. For example, Claude doesn't do image generation, it doesn't do searching on the internet live, but that's also something I don't typically need for the purposes I use it for. Like I typically use it to throw in some draft of a new product announcement or some approach on how I do discovery on a certain topic and ask it to rephrase it or ask it to challenge me on it. And I feel like the first time right with Claude is typically better than with ChatGPT, where I need to keep going back, asking it to change the tone, and yeah, it seems like that's just I click better with Claude for some reason. And then something I've seen that interested me in the accounting space or in AI in general would probably be related to the way we build new templates. I've recently seen some application where you could describe the need you have for something or describe the problem you're trying to solve and generate the code for some kind of application for it. And I do think if we'd be able to do that in our Silverfin templates, we would be able to go to market with new modules more quickly. Like if we want to build working papers for charities, for example, if we could do that in a more efficient way, that would be so powerful.
Amazing. Look, Nick, it's been great to catch up with you and talk to you and kind of get a bit more of a deep dive into how we approach AI at Silverfin. So thank you very much for your time. It's been really great to catch up. So, Martin, welcome to the podcast. And again, great to chat to, this is a double header, this episode, two of our expert product people from the Silverfin team to talk to us about Silverfin and our approach to AI. So let me start with, the wider question then. And how do you see AI shaping the future of Silverfin and Silverfin products?
Well, a lot. I think is the short answer is a lot. So we, and that's a little bit sort of the DNA of the company. We strongly believe in AI, and that AI will have to play an important part in everything we do. So a lot of the projects and initiatives that we're working on right now will have some kind of AI infused into it. And whether it's Silverfin Assistant that we're doing stuff on, or AI input automation, whatever it is, we'll have AI presumably as a big component in all of it. We invest quite a bit of time and energy and money into AI and into research on AI. So we have a really strong in-house AI team, which essentially does nothing but think about how we can create value with AI in Silverfin and to the customers that we're serving. So yeah, AI will play a huge part in a lot of the different things that we're doing. And we have this cool thing in Silverfin, which I think is really, really unique to Silverfin compared to the rest of the market, in that we have a core platform, a core application, which is generic across our markets. And then we have this content side where you have all your working papers, etc., which can be customized to each market. And where partners can create content as well. And one of the things that we'll be looking a lot into is how we can use AI on the working paper side as well, going forward, or in tax for that matter. So a lot of that content that we're producing inside of Silverfin, which makes Silverfin unique, will also have a huge flavor of AI in the future.
And why do you think that AI is so important? Because obviously, if you look at it from the general perspective of companies, everyone's rushing to put AI into their product, right? So they see that it is important. But I wonder if people understand why it's important and what it can do. So from your perspective, why do you think it's important to have AI as more than just a gimmick that you see out there?
Yeah. Because a fair bit are just doing it for the gimmick and
completely. And to tick the marketing box of we've got AI.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. They've done they've done the TED Talks and that they're now doing AI. No, but the good thing is that they're at least playing with it and growing wiser. I think for us, the accounting industry is and this becomes a little bit of a sort of, we're repeating ourselves, but the accounting industry is under a lot of change and a lot of pressure to change, and has been so for a while, even before AI became a thing that could address some of the issues that the industry is facing. But the industry is being pressured to lower costs, to be more efficient in the way that they're working, and that's across the entire board, whether it's on bookkeeping or whether it's in the world of post accounting and compliance and so forth. But you've got to be more efficient in what you're doing in order to be, to be able to carry provide the value that you want. So that's one thing where the industry is changing, and there's going to be some pressure on being more efficient. At the same time, you have a push towards accountants. Firms should be able to provide more value to their customers. So it's not enough to just do the bread and butter compliance or the bread and butter bookkeeping. You need to add on top of that and pivot your entire business model towards more value-adding advisory, maybe business insights that can help your clients become more successful at what they do. So you have this weird duality where at one point the market is being pushed for efficiency, cost saving, do more with on less time, and at the same time provide more value. And I think that's a little bit of a rock and a hard place to be stuck in for a lot of firms. And AI specifically can do something on both those things. So AI can do a lot on efficiency, and is already doing that, and has maybe been doing that for a while, especially on the bookkeeping side of things. But also on the value-adding side of things, AI can definitely do a lot on providing insights that would otherwise be hard for humans to sort of dig out of all the data and present in a good way. So that there's AI can play a huge part on both sides of that spectrum. But that duality is super hard for a lot to deal with, because you can't, maybe in the past you could choose on whether you want to be do cost leadership in the market, just be cheap, or whether you wanted to diff yourself and be different, be known for providing value. I don't think you can choose between those, one of those anymore. You need to be both. And AI as a tool to help you, achieve both is an important tool in your belt, so to speak.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a really interesting answer, and I think it really sings to the true true revolutionary nature that AI could bring to the industry. For me, I think if you look at the accounting industry, I think there's three key evolution points. And the first has been cloud technology. So, taking what was desktop and making it into the cloud. And therefore that brings huge amounts of benefits to businesses. I think the second for me is the ecosystem that came with that. And guess what, right? This echoes other technology. It echoes the iPhone. The iPhone was revolutionary, but what made it truly revolutionary was the technology that went with it that Apple didn't really control. And I think very similar to accounting. I think the third evolution of that is probably AI. So I think it's those three elements together.
I very much agree.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it that way, you go, yeah. So the three really key pivot points that have impacted the way accountants work and the way they think. If you look at kind of an accounting firm, and obviously you've seen this from a couple of different perspectives and lenses, it's okay saying that we need to take on technology with AI, but how does that mindset within a practice have to change to be able to adopt that technology? Because let's be honest, certainly in the UK, accountants and adoption of technology is still slower than maybe the market says it should be.
Yeah, for sure. It's a tricky one because change is the ideal is that you view change as a positive thing, that you welcome it and you embrace it and you just roll with it. But it goes without saying that quite a few people see change as a dangerous thing as well, and something to be a little bit wary of. And you would do some self-reflecting on yourself and your business. Are we at all ready to sort of take this on? Do we feel we have the capabilities as employees and humans to take this on? I think the stupid and simple answer is, well, you gotta. You have to take it on board, right? There's a lot of research done on what does AI do to different professions. How do they either, this is the fear mongering that maybe happened a few years ago. Would they remove professions? How would they strengthen professions and so forth? We're definitely in the realm now where I think everybody agrees, minus a few odd, jobs here and there, that in general is going to lift everybody up. So everybody who will adapt AI and use AI either in their tool chain, taking Silverfin in, which we of course would love, or in any other tools they're using, or just as sort of a companion thing that you use in your daily life to be a more efficient worker, so to speak. Whether you do one of those two things, you will level yourself up as a human, as an individual in the industry, and in the accountancy world, that is also the case. So everybody in doing bookkeeping, accounting, post-accounting, compliance, or whatever, as long as you apply some AI, you will be ahead of the game compared to those that don't. So you don't need to do the PhD and sort of fully enroll into AI. Just do something. Start small. Pick up a few tools. Play with ChatGPT, whatever. It will level you up, and it'll make you feel more comfortable with the tech, and you can sleep safely knowing that you are ahead of the curve, at least compared to those that don't apply it. So leveling everybody up, leveling if you're a manager or partner in a firm, leveling your employees up by giving them access to tools or putting tools services into their tool chain that use AI. Will help you, but it doesn't need to be the big shebang. You can sort of start small and get comfortable with things. And the other thing is trust those you already trust. So if you trust a certain software provider and they are making wise choices have made wise choices in the past, and you think that they're a reasonable bunch of people, then trust them that they could be able to lead you on this AI journey as well. Of course, Silverfin, we would love for our customers and our partners to think that of us, that they can be comfortable with us as someone who can take them on that journey. Because it goes without saying, with some of the words that I put in before, is that we are betting a lot on AI and doing that in a way that is safely going to guide our customers through that universe.
Yeah, and I guess it's interesting you talk about the competitive advantage that it will give to businesses that use AI. Flip that question around. What competitive advantage do you see AI giving Silverfin in the marketplace, and where we sit in the areas that we work in?
We do a lot of we work with data. That's sort of the root at everything we do. So we harvest all this data from the ecosystem that you also talked about, which was sort of the second wave, maybe. So getting all that data into Silverfin so that we can allow our customers to do great stuff with that. Once you have all that data, you, at least in the age of AI, you also almost have an obligation to see how you can use that data to make life more easy for your customers. So us, Silverfin, having all this data coming in via the ERPs, the bookkeeping systems, puts us in a unique position to apply AI on top of that and harvest all the value and the benefit you can get from AI. So I think from a competitive point of view, having built Silverfin in a way where we can get access to all that data in practically real time and apply AI on top is a huge thing. You would struggle to get that on an on-prem system. You could potentially find technical ways to go about it, but you would struggle to have the same sort of data stream that you can apply AI on top of and make and use the outcome of that of those models to make wiser decisions. So the data bit is hugely important. And then where Silverfin sits in a good spot in the market in the post accounting world, where we are. Of course, there's some work that needs to be done, which is maybe a little bit more the bread and butter, but it also leads to insights, and insights you can provide to your clients. And thereby, we've just by chance happened to call the tool Insights. We have a nifty add-on that allows you to do some digging inside of the data and provide some insights that you would otherwise struggle to get. But again, it's building on top of that stream of data that we have access to. And I think that's maybe the strongest unique value proposition for Silverfin in the market right now.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I really like that, because you're right. Like that combination of data and native cloud, and then you put AI onto that, and it makes it super powerful because you've got such data, such information, and you can do so much with that and really make it sing. So I guess my last question, and this is kind of a little bit of your looking into Martin's crystal ball here, but when you look at kind of AI, what's your vision for how AI will continue to transform the accounting industry in the next, say, 3 to 5 years? What do you think it's looked like, and where do you think the potential is going to be?
I think the industry and the software providers providing services to that industry is still gonna, apply AI in the name of efficiency. So that's gonna be a play that's gonna happen. I don't think there's any way around that. Efficiency, whatever we can do to minimize cost and so forth, and AI can do their thing there. So that's gonna happen, and to me, that's not really that exciting anymore. There's tons of work to do, don't get me wrong, but we know it's work that we need to do as a service provider. I think where more stuff will happen is on the interpretation of data, as we just talked about. So providing valuable insights on the basis of all this data through the accountancy industry, and allow accountants to provide advice, business insights, support their businesses and strategic choices. I think that's where we will, the next competitive space will be. And we'll see a lot of players investing in that, including Silverfin, to sort of to invest heavily in that. You have other topics that pop up over the next couple of years, which will be sort of dominating the headlines. You have ESG as sort of a theme, and I'm sure that AI on top of the data stream that allows companies to, for instance, track their carbon footprint and stuff like that, will also be an interesting space to keep an eye out for. So, AI more as definitely AI for efficiency, sure, but more and more AI as a tool to provide more deeper insights that firms can use to help their clients.
Yeah, I think the insights and understanding it is super key, because one of the things that we saw from the pandemic was when businesses had to kind of start to go out there and kind of justify cost expenses for those insights that maybe they needed weren't there easier, and then to get them to dig into that detail was a real challenge. So having them at heart and having them at at the touch of a button almost. And I guess, do you see like natural language AI becoming a significant thing within accounting? So the ability to ask for a forecast or a report for a client, and then it just builds it.
For sure. I mean, that's sort of the hot thing right now, because you have Gen AI, which allows stuff like that in a more easy way. So we're definitely seeing that popping up. And Silverfin have also toyed with it. I think so. I think it will play a part. I think it'll partly be that in terms of, for instance, on reporting. So being able to use natural language to ask probing questions into the file of a client. Yeah, sure, that's gonna be a thing. But I think we will still need AI, or we'll still need to apply a little bit of structure around things. So this dream of you just have data and then you can just ask questions to it, well, that's still work. That's still something where a human needs to do something in order to get an answer. So I think we'll apply AI, but we'll allow natural language to as sort of a prompt towards the data, but providing sort of let AI and the systems come up with the answers proactively instead of letting humans reactively ask the questions. I think maybe that was what I was trying to get to. So a bit more proactivity on the side of vendors like us would probably be a good thing.
Nice. So last thoughts, Martin, any tip that you would give for... No, do you know what? Actually, no, I'm going to ask you a personal question around AI. Last tip here, last thought is, what's Martin's favorite AI tool? So what's the AI tool that you can't, that you could not live without if it disappeared overnight?
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot, Phil. So now I need to get creative because I can't just say something that was hot a year ago, right?
Correct.
No, correct. No, I'm gonna be really play it simple because I use a tool that helps me organize my calendar. There's a few of them out there, so you can just Google AI and calendar and stuff will show up. But a tool that allows me to ensures that I have lunch, for instance. It automatically books my lunch. It automatically books sort of decompression time after some long meetings, stuff like that. It automatically books extended travel time if I need to travel, and that's that kind of personal assistant on sort of managing my diary is extremely beneficial and helpful for me. So that's my tip. Take it for what it is, but get yourself an AI calendar assistant or diary assistant.
Love that. And having tried to book meetings into people's diaries, sometimes you can see that they could definitely do with that when they're back to back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Martin, look, it's great to talk to you, and thank you so much for sharing your insights. You've been listening to the Silver Linings podcast, which was written and produced by me, Phil Hopton, and Lara Bolsonaro. The podcast is edited by Lee Stallard and Nomad Video. If you'd like to find out more about Silverfin, you can visit us at silverfin.co.uk or check us out on LinkedIn.